Hey guys, welcome to Ellen Diff Entertainment. If you are new to this channel, please do hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you become one of the very first people to receive my notifications every time I upload a new video. So today, the 25th of March 2020 brings a very disheartening, saddest news, to especially to South Africans and yes, to the world, because the man who has passed away, who was known as Ubaba Vusamazulu Credo Mutwa, has passed away, and it is not yet known, it is unclear rather that where did he pass away, whether it was in hospital or in his homestead, because it is known that there are rumors rather that he was admitted to hospital, but then there is not much that is being said. He passed away at the age of 98 years. Yes, he has lived a long time, and certainly he has lived, he has left behind to those that who are spiritually uplifted, and those that understand amadlozi, and those who are spiritually gifted, especially, they will really resonate with what he had lived for. And also, if in general, if you are a person who values ubuntu and who values humanity, to put it in English, seriously, you will understand what Tata Credo Mutwa has lived for, and his principles rather. Yes, Tata Credo Mutwa was respected in the countrywide, and also especially overseas, in the other parts of the world. Yes, some might say, Uguti, yes, there are stories that, he was mistreated in Soweto in the years of the uprising in 1976. Yes, that did happen, as so he also attests to it. And recently there was a documentary that was aired, I'm not sure on which channel, but on the SABC, of which it was talking about Tata Credo Mutwa. So seriously, this news is just really so saddening. One of the reasons is that there was so much that he could have taught us, and also yes, there are some legacies that he have left behind, and some documentaries that were made about him, we could learn from those. But you know what, it is always best to hear stories from the actual person, on their perspective. One of the great things that he is known for also is that he is an author, or was an author, of books that had drawn upon African mythologies. His most recent work is a graphic novel called The Tree of Life trilogy, excuse me, based on his writings of his most famous books, Indaba My Children. In 2018, he was honored with an Usiba Award, of which it was presented by the Department of Arts and Culture for his outstanding work in the indigenous wisdom. Yes, if ever you have followed him, you will know Guti, he has said some really some strange things that has been happening in his life, and also of which he says they were true, and some of them are really hard to believe, and whenever you listen to them, you just left with an awe, and stories as such as there was a time whereby there's actually even a movie about that on the YouTube channels. I'm not sure what was it, because it was a long time I've watched it, but he was talking about the time he was abducted during the time of apartheid, when it was really high in South Africa. And he said he was abducted in, I think it was in Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken, but he was abducted by aliens, of which it happened when he was on a journey of spirituality. So the aliens took him, and they did some really strange things on him, of which I can't really talk. Some of them involved some alien women in it, and and also like his private parts, something were being done there and stuff like that. So if ever you are interested, you can just check him out, like just google search on YouTube about Tata Credo Mutwa, and like you will see that video, and then like you will just be so surprised. And then like he spoke of other aliens, of which like they lived in mountains of sorts, if I'm not mistaken. And whenever like there were things that were taking place, like if ever they crash landed or whatever, like there will be some little soldiers of the aliens, like who will come through and like make sure, like clean up, like how it happens on the movies. It was something like that. But then like really it is a very interesting. But one of those that really stood out for me was when, like he spoke about how the humans, like gender thing, like were introduced into the world by some, I forgot the names of the aliens, but they are reptiles, and like they came on earth, and then like it's a long story, it's very interesting one. And like he said ukuthi, like we used to communicate, like how the dolphins communicate, telepathic. Yeah, that's the way, telepathic. And like when those aliens came down, and then they did something, like they tricked humans, and they made us what we are today. Let me just say like that, they made us what we are today. So you can just go out and then search the information and just listen to him yourself. You will just learn a lot from him. He was a really interesting man, and he still is, even though he is gone. And may his soul rest in peace. And yeah, there's nothing more that I can say besides that. You know what, as we are going through this worldwide epidemic, and tomorrow like South Africa is having a shutdown. Oh, it's really hard, seriously, it's really hard. So may he rest in peace, and God grant him pardon if ever there was anything to be pardoned. And yes, please do hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you become one of the very first people to receive my notifications every time I upload a new video. And please go ahead and comment if ever like you had read anything of Tata Credo Mutwa, and like if ever like anything about Sanusi's, as he was one of them, and maybe perhaps some in your area, or perhaps in your country. If ever you are not from South Africa, do share what do you know. I'm really interested into hearing, like stories of Africa, real tales of Africa, not what we know now, the real stories behind Africa, if ever there is any that during this time that we are under quarantine in our houses. So let's just communicate with each other, and yeah, let's share the love, because in these hard times, that's all we need. And don't forget to pray, because prayer will get us through this. And some might be experiencing breakdowns and depression and what not, because we do know that staying in one place, especially a closed place, it is a really like depressing. It can really weigh you down. So anyway, do comment down below and let me know ukuthi kwenzakalani empilweni yakho, and how are you dealing with everything around you, if ever there is anything to deal with. And yes, if you got nothing to tell me about Tata Credo Mutwa, or around about anyone that who is a Sanusi or was Sanusi, or if you got no tales that you can tell me about, like stories that you were told when you were young, growing up, real African stories. So anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna have to love you and leave you, and just wish that you are well wherever you are, and you are taking extra care of yourself. And I am loving you, and I will see you soon. But just remember that I can never love you more than God can ever love you. So do go down on your knees and ask that God takes care of us, worldwide. Even though there are some, like people who don't need forgiveness from God, with the things that they do, because they believe, good, what, there is no God. But still, we do need to pray for them. So I'm loving you, and I'll see you soon. Mwah, mwah, mwah.